Okay, welcome again, everyone, to our presentation. My name is Camille McIntosh, and I will be doing the presentation on the plan, putting it all together. Let us pray. Most Holy and Divine Father, we thank you so much, dear Lord, for this information that you have given us so that we can teach your people how to be well, how to stay well, and prevent illness. I pray that you may open their minds, give them understanding, take the fear of not being able to start and all the uncertainties away, take it away from them and help them to trust in you that your plan will work once they are obedient. I pray that you may help me to speak in a manner that will help them to understand and help them to be able to implement the plan effectively. Thank you for hearing and answering my prayer, I pray in Jesus' name. Okay, so the plan is what we put. When somebody comes to you and they say, oh, I have a pain in my back, what I can take? The first thing comes to your mind is the plan. What I can take? No. What have you done? The first thing you want to do is to start thinking, what did this person do to cause that back pain? What did this person do or not do to be unable to breathe? What is happening why this person is having this symptom? Remember, the symptoms that a person may experience is the body's way of saving their life. It's the body's way of controlling whatever it is that is going haywire in their system. So you don't want to knock out the messenger. You want to assist the messenger. So what we do, you are going to first try to identify the cause. Then you are going to eliminate the problems that cause it. And then you're going to assist the body to recover. All right, and so this is what we're going to be outlining to you. Now, in the WhatsApp, I take it that everybody's in the WhatsApp at the moment. I have put in the WhatsApp the PDF files of your resources and for this lecture. There you have your assignments. We're not going to look at that yet. After this, we'll go through the assignment with Brother Tesman doing the presentation. So what we're going to look at now is your lifestyle assessment form, which was put in the chat some days ago. It's right there. You need to have it on as I go through this. And the healthy tip. So I've put it in both PDF and Word format so that if you are not able to open the PDF, you should be able to open the Word format. If you are not able to do so, just put that in the chat and we will put your, well, if you are not named properly, put your name and say, I'm unable to open the document, and we will sort that out. But for now, just have your document on hand, those persons who had them, and so that you can make jottings as I go along. The first thing on your lifestyle assessment is the confidential consent form, then, so to speak. So it reads, please note the health information received during the consultation is for general education and is not intended to be specific medical advice. No medical care, diagnosis, or treatment is provided during this consultation. It is advisable to consult with one's personal health care provider before implementing any lifestyle changes. I release And in this slot, you are going to put your name, your ministry, your health facility. So instead of complete healing or natural healing or whatever healing center, you're going to have your name. So it would read, I release Alison Johnson, or her associated organization or associates from any and all liability. Participation in this consultation indicates acceptance of these terms. No. It's important that you get this form signed by whoever you have selected, who has volunteered to do your assessment. Just a quick note. This presentation is mainly for those persons who are doing the certificate program. Those persons who are not doing the certification program, you will not need to print and give this form to anybody for them to complete it so that you can prepare an assignment for us. But it's good information for you to know how you can guide somebody verbally in helping them. Because we don't expect you to get information and just sit down with it. We expect that you are going to help with that. All right. Michelle Brown, did you have a question? Michelle Brown? Okay, I take it that's her mistaken. All right. Okay, so the consent form reads that it's giving you general information. Now, please understand that this statement is for legal reasons, and we know that the general information that we give will or is able to help somebody to get well. But you have to coin it in such a way that they are not able to take it to the court to say that you promised them long life and tall hair and bow legs, having done your program, and these things does not result. Okay. The next point I want to highlight to you is that we do, as medical missionaries, we do not diagnose, we do treat, and we provide assistance to persons who are seeking the assistance, but we do not diagnose. Many times our clients come with a diagnosis already. For those persons who don't have a diagnosis, what we do, the detailed assessment that we do, because you are going to be learning about the body, the anatomy of the body, and all of those things, you will be able to say what the problem is. All right, I am noticing a bit of chatter in the chat. Students, please pay attention to the presentation at hand. The form, you'll be able to download the form after the presentation, but just pay attention to what is going on, because it is very important that you do not miss the information that is presented. All right. So if you can't download the document, no worries. Just pay attention to the presentation that is going on. Okay. So you have your clients, and just a note, all those persons who are doing the certificate program, this document must be signed by the person who has volunteered for you to assist them. Signed and date. And you keep this page tucked away very securely somewhere, right? Because it's going to be your insurance. All right. All right. So the next thing that follows on the form is general information about the client, their name, their address, their phone number, the work number, the cell number, the email address, church affiliation, and how long they've been a member. Now you want their name so that you are able to identify them. Please note, I repeat, please note, these informations are not to be on your case study. You cannot identify somebody with a name. No identifying information is supposed to be in your case study. So I can read it and say, oh, this is Alison, or oh, this is Jasmine. No. So in the area where it says name, you would put the client's initials. So this document you're going to give them to complete, but your case study, you're going to eliminate this first page, or you're going to, well, follow, I have been so kind to you. I have done a template for you, which is easy. It's this part is removed, and you can use that in preparing your presentation, okay? So you eliminate the person's name, their address. Why this is important? Because there are persons with the same name, many persons with the same name. And sometimes it is their address and their phone number that will identify them. All right? The email address is important. Just in case you are not able to reach them via telephone, you could send them a quick line via email to say, listen, I am thinking about you. I am praying about you and your health issues. I have not forgotten you. You want them to indicate if they're affiliated to any church for many reasons. No, you do know that certain churches have certain religious practices that may affect health. For example, Jewish persons have a particular type of lifestyle and diet. Those things can influence a person's health. A person who is a Jehovah's Witness have a certain type of, they have certain type of belief that may affect treatment recommendations. So you may recommend something to them and they are not interested in that because it goes against their religious beliefs. Of course, you know, Seventh-day Adventists, Rastafarians, other persons have religious beliefs that can impact their health and their treatment modality that you may recommend. How long they're a member sometimes give you an indication about their spiritual life. Remember, spirituality affects your health. So how long they've been a member may suggest their spiritual walk, how serious they are about their religious experience and things like that, okay? So the next page, yes, you can work on yourself. So the information that I've given also goes for you. So if you are going to use yourself as the volunteer, you are still going to remove, you're not going to include your name, your email, your phone number, you're just going to have a alias or your initials, okay? Because I might know that you're doing yourself, but an external examiner might not know that. And so the external, once you have your name and the person's email and phone number that you can identify the person, you're going to be marked down for that. All right. All right. So the next page, the question that says list any health concerns you may have. Is it physical? Is it mental? Is it social? Is it spiritual? And this question and the last question on this page is very similar, but sometimes you will learn when you're interviewing clients or volunteers that you have to ask the question, different ways for you to get the correct answer. Sometimes you ask and they say, no, I don't do that. But then you ask it another way and they say, yes, man. You understand? So you have to, so this question, what health concerns you may have? They may say physical, but in the bottom line, what specific condition would you like this consultation to address? They may say, well, I have a fear issue. No, fear is not physical. It's emotional, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's asking the same question. The question is asking, what health concerns do you have? What do you want us to address? Is it your diabetes? Is it your hypertension? Is it your fear? Is it your anxiety? Is it your cancer? What is it that you have come to us for, that you have volunteered for this treatment for, okay? When did you last consult a physician? This is important, an important question, because you want to know if they have been assessed, if they have been diagnosed, because remember, we don't diagnose persons, right? And so this is important if they actually went to a physician, and when last was this? Sometimes persons are open to self-medicate. There's nothing wrong with that once you're guided, once the information is guided and they have a principle following, okay? Are you currently being treated for any ailments? Yes, no. No. Sometimes they will tell you no, but the no is actually a yes. So they may say, no, I'm not being treated for any ailments, but they have been diagnosed with hypertension. They are not taking the doctor's medication, but they are treating themselves for hypertension, right? So they are actually being treated for ailments, but they are not using the doctor's medication, for want of a better term, okay? The follow-up question says, if yes, if you are being treated for any ailment, what are these? So on the first question on this page, sometimes person may put one thing. They may say, when it says list any health concerns, they may write high blood pressure and heart problems. When you have this question now, are you currently being treated for any ailments? And they say yes, they write arthritis, diabetes, hypertension, a whole list of things, right? So the assessment is detailed to capture all the information that the client might not say, because they think that, why are you asking me that? Many times when clients fill out the form, they say, but why are you asking me that? It's asking you those things so that we can get all the information that you're so anxious filling out the paper that you don't want to answer. No, I don't want to answer that. Why do I need to know this? And they forget things, and the things that they forget are crucial. If we have recommended treatment for them for one thing, it may affect another part of their health. And that part of their health, they did not tell us that there's anything wrong with it. And so that's another reason why you need the consent signed. All right, and you explain to them, it's important that the information that you give us is honest and true. And you have to tell them also that the information will only be shared with your examiners or your evaluators, okay? Yes, Miss Smith? Karen? Carlene, I mean? All right, let me continue. List any surgery that you may have. No, this is another question that is very tricky. The client may say, I don't have any significant surgery, but guess what? At age 9, they had their appendix removed, or they had their tonsil removed. or they had a surgery on their little finger. Those things are important. They may affect their health care now. Because if you remove your tonsils, it's going to predispose you to infections. If you remove your appendix, it may also predispose them to infection and certain digestive issues, right? While surgery on the little finger may not be significant, it can be significant because how did they fare out during that surgery? Did they do well with anesthesia? Did they not do well with anesthesia? Did anything that happens? That's what you want to know. You're trying to get how did they fare during surgery? So apart from the surgery itself, you want to know, did they have any event during the surgery? They may not remember the date. So they may say it was 10 years ago, it was when I was a little boy. Write that, because it's going to have a bearing on the mind, all right, and on their health. The next question said, what disease have you been diagnosed with? Again, you have to assure the client that all the information that they are given is confidential and will not be shared with anyone else. And that's the reason why you're not using their name in the presentation. You'll be using their initials. So everything is confidential, and the only person who will see the information is the person who is doing marking your paper. All right, so it's going to be you, them, the Holy Spirit, and the examiner. All right. So what disease have you been diagnosed with? They may have been diagnosed with probably syphilis some years ago and they were treated. They're not having a flare-up now. But they were diagnosed before. They may be diagnosed with high blood pressure or heart problem, or they may say to you, well, them say may have cancer, but me not believe that. Again, this question is to ensure that if you miss the first question that says what condition, list any conditions that they have are of concern, then you will capture it here. And if you miss it here, then the last question, what specific conditions would you like this consultation to address? We should get it. So we're trying as much as possible to find out the health status of the person. All right. Okay. You're going to be specific now. We're looking at the symptoms. And when Brother Bob, I think it's Brother Bob, when you get your anatomy and physiology lecture, you will see how these symptoms, which symptoms is primary for which system, body system. All right. So you'll ask them, are you having any dizziness? Are you having any fainting? And sometimes they will say, long time, I don't have no dizziness. Again, you have to assess. When you say long time, what do you mean? No, the body works on cycles. And after 21 days of doing something repetitively, a scar is made or an impression is made. So if you start a habit today, 21 days after you've started that habit, it becomes a character trait or it becomes a habit. It might not have been a habit today when you do it, it was just something that you picked up, but after 21 days of doing it, it now becomes a habit and it becomes difficult to treat. So when you ask persons, are you experiencing any of these? Say to them, are you experiencing any of these in the last 3 to 4 months? Or the last 6 months? Okay? Because you want to know if it is now a part of their body and they no longer see it as a symptom. It's just, my back hurt me, but it always hurt me like that. You understand? So they may have a feeling of numbness, but it is now a part of them so much so that they don't see it as a problem. So you have to ask these questions intelligently, right? You have to ask them pointedly. So you want to know, have you experienced any of these symptoms in the last 3 to 6 months? All right? And we go through them: dizziness, fainting, nausea, pain, heart palpitations. Sometimes you have to know, explain, depending on the client, you have to explain to them what some of these things mean. Dizziness, they don't understand. So you have to say, do you feel lightheaded? Do you feel faint? Feel nauseous? Do you feel like you want to throw up or you want to vomit? You have to explain to them. Pain. Now, persons may have different pain threshold, and some what may be painful to you or I may not be painful to them. So they don't see it as anything. It's just a little uncomfortableness. So you want to say to them, if somebody answers, are you feeling pain? You want to say to them, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is your pain? If 10 is the hottest pain you ever feel in your life, what would you give this pain? Is it just an uncomfortable feeling? You would give it 1 or 2. Is it more than a little bit uncomfortable? You could probably give it a 4. Does it affect your behavior, your lifestyle, your actions? Mean that you're feeling so pained, it's so intense that you can't walk straight, or it's disturbing your sleep or something like that. Is it so painful that it has crippled you? You can't move, you can't function, you can't concentrate. So you want to know the pain that you're having, how intense is it? All right? Heart palpitations. Some persons do not understand what that is. So you say to them, does your heart skip a beat? You know, do you have symptoms like that? Fatigue. You say to them, are you feeling very tired? Do you feel so exhausted that you can't function? Are you having any headaches? And if they're having any headaches, please note, write this down. If they're having headaches, you're going to ask them, where is the headache? Is it at the front of the head? Is it in the center of the head? Is it at the back of the head? Or is it at the side? Those are the information you want to know with your headache. You want to know the location. So write that down. If for headaches, you want to know location. Also, you want to ask them, what is it, a piercing pain? Or is it's a dull pain, or it feels like somebody's hitting in your head? It's excruciating. You want to assess the intensity. So you have location. Where is it? Is it the front, back, side, or middle? You want to look at intensity. Is it pointed? Is it throbbing? Is it on and off? Does it come and go? So you want to know those things. And thirdly, you want to know, is it easily relieved? When you sit down and don't do anything, does it wear off? When you drink some water, does it go away? Is there any action or any position that you take that will relieve the headache? This is going to help you to identify the type of headache that the person is having and to help identify what may be the cause. Say, for example, if it's a frontal headache, and they may say that it comes on like at midday, it comes on, or when I'm hungry or so, it may be migraine, right? They may say the headache, I can't move when it's happening, and I can't see properly, things like that. These are symptoms of migraine. So the person is not having an ordinary headache, right? And then the headaches may be stress induced, you know. It's only when I go to work I have a headache. Why? Because there is a stressor at work, or it's only when I'm at home. Only when my husband is at home, the headache comes on, or only when my wife is there, the headache comes on, right? So you know that there may be some stress that is going on, right? That may be causing the headache. and not a high blood pressure or lack of water or things like that may be causing that headache, right? But you have to look at the stress. It's an emotional thing. Memory loss. Again, you want to ask, what are the type of things that they are forgetting? Are they little things or are they big things, like you're getting your name, time, things like that? Insomnia. What is insomnia? Insomnia is inability to fall asleep or not getting adequate sleep. Then you just can't sleep. You're tossing and turning in the bed. You're not sleeping well at all. Sleep just running away from you. All right. Difficulty breathing. Is there a pain when you breathe? What do you mean by difficulty breathing? Let me just tell you something. A lot of persons do not know their stomach from their chest. And so they will tell you that they're having a pain in their chest. But really, if you are able to see them and you say, show me where you're having the pain, where they're touching is their stomach. No, when persons are having pain in the stomach, sometimes it may feel as if it's a chest pains. Indigestion can be masked by chest pains. So sometimes they feel like there's a burden in the chest. The burden in the chest is not talking about heart, it's stomach. So sometimes the pain that is in the chest is a stomach pain. All right. So again, the difficulty, when they're having difficulty breathing, it may be related to indigestion that is caused from the stomach. All right. So you're going to go through the symptoms with them and you try to explain to them the symptoms. Clammy skin, what does that mean? Your skin just feel moist and just sweaty and cold. Constipation, well, again, you have to explain to persons their normal bowel action, and I have normal in quotation, is probably once or twice a week. So that's not constipated for them. For them, constipation is not going out for the month. So you have to quantify it. So when you say, are you constipated? And they say, no, you have to say, so you go to the bath, you have a bowel action every day. You understand? You have to quantify it so that you can get the right answers. Diarrhea, again, you ask them, how often are you going? Because they may say that they're having diarrhea, but really, they may have had 2 high fiber meals, and so they've gone 2 or 3 times for that day, fully formed feces. And so in their mind, it's diarrhea because they don't normally go that often. So you have to ask the question pointed. Indigestion, acid reflux, again, you have to explain to them what that is. And sometimes the symptoms, flu or cold, is self-explanatory. Blurred vision, again, you say to them, are you able to see, or your vision looks blurry? Are you having any swelling anywhere? Again, you have to ask them. They may be comfortable with their swelling. So the person may have a swollen ankles, but that always happens. And you know, the pregnant woman accept this as norm. It is not normal. It is saying something. Every symptom is saying something. So it's not normal for the pregnant woman to have swollen ankle. We can explain why it happens, but it is not normal and it doesn't have to happen. So when it do happen, you know that something is going on. All right. If they have parasites or worms, how are they going to know that? You ask them if their bottom itch them or they feel anything wiggling down there, you know, things like that. You have to ask them this question. If they have a bad odor, again, you have to quantify that. If they have a bad odor, where? Is it under the arm, or they just have a general bad body odor, or they have a bad odor from the genitals or from the feet? So you have to ask them, pointed, do you have a bad body odor in the arms, the genitals, your feet, anywhere, your hair, your mouth, right? So sometimes they will say, I brush my teeth, but my breath is still offensive. And that is going to clue you in on some other questions that you may want to ask them. Are they having excessive sweating? And sometimes you have to quantify what excessive sweating is. Do you soak your clothing? Is the sweating, are you able to see sweat marks on your clothes? Things like that. Hair loss, again, and you ask, pointed how long it's been happening, if they're having a fever. Sometimes persons will tell you that they're having a fever, but they're not really having a fever. They may be having a high body temperature. So they put their hand on their neck. That's how we check if you're having a fever, right? You put your hand on your neck and they feel warm, or know they're conscious of the warmth of their body because they're not feeling well. But it's really their normal body temperature. But they were so busy doing other things and they were feeling fine. They never thought to feel themselves. Right, but now that they're feeling themselves, they say, but I feel warm. But when you actually check the temperature, you realize that's their normal body temperature, but because they're just conscious of it now because they're feeling off. Okay. Infections. You ask them, have you had any infections recently? And that's a wide question. And that may require many follow-up questions. Infections where it might be in the genital, it might be anywhere. So it is going to require more pointed questionings. Bleeding, again, you have to ask, bleeding from where? Do you bleed excessively from bruises? Are you bleeding from your genitals, whether it's from the penis or from the from the penis or from the vagina? Is it your normal period, if it's a period? Or do you bleed outside of your period? Are you having bleeding in your anus? Do you see blood streaks when you have a bowel action? Things like that. So you want to assess. When you brush your teeth, do you see bleeding? And you're trying to assess, are they having a problem clotting? Is there a problem? You know, and so you ask this pointed question. Weight loss, you will ask them, if they say they are losing weight, again, you want to know for what was their weight like before? Have they changed anything? Is there any stressor going on in their life? Things like that. Same thing with weight gain. Sexual dysfunction. By that you mean, are you feeling for sex more now or less? Are you not able to perform as though you used to perform before? Is your partner complaining? You know, those are some questions that you may want to find. Now, sometimes, especially for the male, they may say no, they're not having any sexual dysfunction. A follow-up question that you could ask them to is that, do you find that when you urinate, you urinate completely? There's dribbling after you think you're finished urinate and you think you're finished and then, urine still comes. That's an indication of sexual dysfunction, right? Anemia. Now, one may not know that they're anemic unless they are tested, but you can look at them and make an assessment. Are their palms pale? Are their mucous membranes pale? And in the trainer program, we show to you how to assess the mucous membrane to see if the person looks pale and things like that. But anemia is really assessed by a lab result. They can have symptoms in terms of, as I said, paleness, feeling weak all the time or feeling tired, being hungry all the time sometimes are indications of anemia. Okay, some of the other questions that we'll ask, do you suffer from any of the following emotional disorders? So many persons will tell you no, but you have to ask questions. So when you ask, are you depressed? No, they may say no, but then you ask, do you find that you're crying all the time, or you're just staring out of space sometimes, or you find that you're thinking a lot and not able to sleep? You ask them the questions, the symptoms of depression, to identify if they may be having a depressive episode and not realizing it. Same thing for chronic anxiety, bipolar, codependency. This is another name for depression. Our persons just feel that they can't do things by themselves. They need help. They need guidance. They won't try anything. They need to be led, right? Obsessive compulsive disorder. If they're doing something, they just have to finish it. They have to just make sure say it's all right. Things like that. There any manic depressive symptoms. They may be sitting down and they're staring out of space, or they may be very, very, very happy. Different symptoms that may indicate that they may be having an emotional or a mental disorder. Last question on this page. What specific condition would you like this consultation to address? As was mentioned before, you want to make sure. So a lot of times persons will come with 4 or 5 different problems, but they will say to you, I just need this problem solved. It's not that they don't want the other solving up, but this one is of concern to them. This one brings fear. This one keeps them up at night. This is what they want addressed. If this is fixed, then the others can come. But this is the crucial thing. Understand? No, depending on what that is, you will learn over time that some problems you have to deal with them back way. So the person may say, I just need my diabetes fixed. I just want my sugar to go down. But they have a circulation problem. And you have to address the circulation. If the circulation problem is not fixed, the diabetes problem will not fix. So sometimes you may say, I know that you want your diabetes to fix, but the problem with the diabetes is the circulation. So we're going to do it back way. And sometimes you have to really spend time to explain to them that it's not that you're putting away what their goal that they want, their health goal that they want, but you have to do it this way in order to reach the goal that they need. All right. Okay. Section 3. Section 3 is going to include some more pointed question, personal questions, but these are allowed in your assessment. All right. Date of birth, that won't identify persons per se, so it's allowable. All right. So you want to ask them the date of birth, and you ask them the date of birth because sometimes they will give you one date of birth and they will give you a different age. Or they will give you an age and they will give you a different date of birth. And then again, we use a date of birth as an identifying marker in terms of different persons' names. So we have persons with the same name, but they have a different date of birth. The sex, male or female. No, we are not like some who will have male, female, or other, or male, female, or prefer not to disclose. You're either male or you're female, as God says. So you have to take one of them. Marital status, single, is understandable, and that is going to guide you with their health care if they're single. Again, some persons are not just single, but they're single and they're cohabiting. So they are single and they have a visiting relationship. Because if they are single, you're thinking that they are not sexually active, and so that will eliminate all of the sexually transmitted disease. So you would be thinking that that is wrong with them. But they may consider themselves single, but they have a visiting relationship where they may cohabit with someone when the person is around, and the person is not often around, so they consider themselves single. So again, you have to understand these things to see how the mind thinks. And this goes for both Christian persons and non-Christians, I dare tell you. Married, again, you want to know if it's the first marriage, the second marriage, the third marriage, or more. And you do have situations where persons are married for more. Why have they been married so many times? Is it a personality problem that the person is having? Or, you know, this kind of an indication, the type of temperament that you're having to deal with, and things that may be affecting their health as well. If they're divorced, same reason. If they're widowed, and you want to find out how long they have been divorced, how long they have been widowed, if that is the situation. Now, on your form, you will not have all of these assessments. I believe you're going to have weight, height, BMI, and then blood pressure, the saturation, respiration, and temperature. But I put this in just for you to see some of the other things that you could include. All right. So you want the weight, and you want the weight in either pounds or kilogram. You want the height in feet or centimeters. And you're going to use these two figures to calculate the BMI. Now, we have an instrument that we use, a scale that we use that is able to give us the BMI, but not to worry, there are lots of charts around online or around that you can put in the person's weight and height and a BMI, and you can work out the BMI, all right, which is the basal metabolic, no, the body mass index, sorry. Right? So your BMI is your body mass index, and this tells us the ratio of weight per height. The other information about your waist measurement, you want to do this, especially if the person is has a big belly, because that can contribute to their health. Their body fat speaks to the amount of the fat percentage in the body, for want of a better term. And sometimes persons are fat inwardly. So you may have somebody that looks average, but I have seen, like I've seen a very slim person, not very slim, but average size person, and the person came to do a operation, and when it's an abdominal operation, and when you went in, the amount of fat, you wonder where she hid all of those things, right? When we are doing surgeries, when I was working at the hospital, like removal of fibroids or tumors from the abdomen, and the size tumor that is removed, you wonder where was this person carrying this tumor? They didn't look like that, right? So the person might look average size, but they have a high body fat index. Muscle fat is the fats that are surrounding your muscles. Visual fat is key. No, the normal visual fat is supposed to be less than 10%, and sometimes you have persons over 18% or more. This is the amount of fat that is surrounding your organs. Now, the amount of fat that is around your organs can indicate a high cardiovascular risk, which means that you're more likely to have a heart attack or have a coronary event. Now, these information, your body fat, your muscle fat, your visual fat, have great bearing on your biological body age. And sometimes a person may be 50, but the biological age is 70, 80, or it may be 33. So the person may be very slim, good muscle tone and all of that, and so the biological body age is much less than what they are. I have to boast to you. My body age is like 5 less than my actual age. Yeah, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. All right. Your blood pressure, person who's indicated blood pressure, the pulse, the respiration, temperature. These are crucial things that they would include. Now, when you're doing the assessment or when you're doing it with other persons, do not worry if you're not able to get this information. If you are able to get them, it's good. But if you're not able to get them, don't worry too much about them. You can still do the assessment and do it quite effectively without them. It's good if you can get the blood pressure and pulse, weight and height. Those are crucial. But if you are not able to get the weight and the pulse, or sometimes you can just tell them they can go to the clinic and get it done, and just so that you can have the information on your form. All right. All right, on the same page, you will have, please list all the medications or pills you are currently taking. Now, many times persons have pills and they're not taking them, or they're not taking them every day. They need to be included, because then you are going to, you want to see the side effects of these drugs, because sometimes it might be the side effects of the drugs that is giving them the problem that they're having, right? So you want to list the names, ask them to write them down, write it out. In an oral interview, just tell them to write it down. If you can't spell it, just write them down, look at the box, write it out so that you know what is that they're taking. You'll see that we separate the pharmaceutical medication from the supplements. Again, you want the list of the supplements. But supplements are generally good, right? Yes, but sometimes the brands that they are taking may affect them as well. Remember, not only food items you have to read the label, but even your medication you have to read the label, because there are things that are in medication that may cause harm. All right, so the supplements, and here, they may tell you, no, they take a lot of fever graphs tea, or they take a lot of Cersei tea, or they drink a lot of neem tea. This is where you would put those information. All right. Now, these are your resources. The person has filled out all of that, and they have filled out the violations to the 8 laws of health. What are you going to use to help them? Apart from the lectures that you will get, you're going to use your counsels on diets and food, you're going to use your Ministry of Healing, and you're going to use the Natural Remedies Encyclopedia. These are all texts that you will use for the training. You can get them at Maranatha or Complete Healing, and you can get them online as well, right? So you use these to find out about your herbs, find out about the condition, find out about the symptom that the person may having, so that you can help them holistically. All right, so we're going to go into now the healthy tips. The questions that follow are all under the 8 laws of health. And you're asking them specific questions about pure air, about sunlight, about temperance. And you ask them these questions to see how much of the 8 laws are they violating. And you are going to use the health healing plan to make recommendations to them. So for example, you ask them, do you open your windows in the night? And they said no. Your recommendation is going to be, make sure you sleep with your windows slightly open. Avoid wearing tightly fitting clothing, right? Including your belts and elastics and tight bras and things like that. You're going to tell them to avoid wearing tightly fitting clothing, all right? And so you look at all of the violations of pure air, and whichever one the person has violated or is violated, then you are going to say to them, you have to take key with this particular violations, or you're going to take key with this particular violations, okay? We know that you may have other books on health and on herbs But we want you to use the text that we have recommended, because sometimes these books will have different information in them. And what we're trying to do, we're trying to use one of our mantras that we always tell you. We're using the Bible, inspiration, and good science. So, say for argument's sake, there is a popular encyclopedia among Seventh-day Adventists called Food and I'm not remembering. It's Food Encyclopedia or Food and something Encyclopedia. Now, this is a text that is authored by a Seventh-day Adventist, and they claim to be using the health laws, but they make recommendations to meat and offer meat and seafood as an option for persons to get certain nutrients. No, we do not subscribe to that. And that's one of the reasons why we say when you're going to be doing your presentations, do not use New Start and Celebration and God's Plan and all of these. Do it according to what we have taught you. Do it according to inspiration, how God gave them to us. That's how we want you to learn them, because there's merit in doing them that way. All right? So try to use the text that we recommend, or if you're using the other text, just as though you're in school and the teacher may say something that we don't agree with, you have to find a way to intelligently present what you believe without, in a manner that you're not marked down, but you're not accepting what they're saying that is wrong anyway. You understand what I'm saying? All right, so I'm not going to spend time to go through all the 8 laws of health and their violations, because these are some of the things that we have done in class. All the 8 laws have been presented, and the violations and the recommendations were outlined, right? So we're just going to just browse through the slides for you to see. You have the document there, right? And it explains to you the information that you're going to be giving to the clients, and you are going to outline it to them. You look at their violations, and you look at where they are, and you explain to them why it is better if they do it another way. Now, when you're making recommendations to person, you have to choose your words. Don't tell them, don't do that. No, you might. No, you have to say to them, you know, there's another way to do it. You know, if you do it this way, I think that if you do it this way, you may get a better result. You have to find, and God will help you. Just pray, always pray before you do the consultation. And if you'll have to pray sometimes during the consultation for guidance. What do I tell this person? God will give you the answer, right? And the healthy tip give you all the answers that you need to give to the person in regards to each violation. All right. Let me take Sister Perry's on, and then I will continue. Go ahead, Sister Perry.
Yes, nice. I don't have most of the book because I asked the colporteur to get me them, and I don't get back any answers yet, so I don't know what to do.
Well, you never asked Maranatha. You didn't ask Nurse, you didn't ask Doc, you didn't ask Brother Taylor, you didn't ask Brother Tesman.
I did not know you have them, Nurse.
Yes, we have some of the books. And most of them we have. They're in different locations, so we have to get them to the location that you may have, that you are, so that we can get them.
Port Antonio?
Pardon me?
Port Antonio?
You can get it. You can get them.
Okay, then I will
I think we're supposed to, oops, sorry about that, my dear. I was trying to take down your hand. We're supposed to be getting some shipments of some book as well. They're not yet here, but I think we may have for persons who may want. All right. Yes, Sister Samuels. Oh, you're finished, Miss Mary?
Yes, nurse.
All right, dear.
I will get the
Miss Mary. Go ahead. Oops. I'm moving too fast. Go ahead, my dear. You were saying?
I said I will let you know which one I don't have and which.
Sure, not a problem.
Okay then.
Okay. Miss Samuels?
Sorry, my hand was not up. I don't know what happened.
Okay. All right. So remember now, how are we going to be helping these persons with their health issues? We are not doctors, we are not nurses, we are medical missionaries. And how we do? We work with the great physician to do this. And one of the key things is to let your client know that healing comes from God. And so in every step of your health journey, we have to refer to him. And so it's very important that they begin to have morning devotions and evening devotions, or at least have devotion daily, so that the program that they're on, the Lord is able to work with them. Sometimes when you ask clients to do some things, and if they're trying to reach you and they can't reach you, they get so flustered. You have to remind them, remember that the program that you're on is one that is designed by God. If you are unable to reach me for whatever reason, remember, just pray, because we are now on a path where he's going to communicate with you. This is his whole aim. He wants to communicate with you so that he can heal you. So sometimes he's going to give you the answer, right? So if you can't reach me, just pray. He will impress you on what to do. And you have to give them that assurance to help them, because sometimes they get so scared. If there's something that they're supposed to do and they can't reach you and they don't know what to do, and they end up not doing anything at all when they could have done something and helped themselves. Or they end up, the next thing is that they end up going to the pharmaceutical doctor, and so we have to start all over again with the health program. All right. So you want to encourage them to have a daily devotion, right? And you recommend the books. Use up the books. You may not be a colporteur, but our program is gospel medical missionary and literature evangelist. So you too should be able to know, when you read the literature, that is your Sister Cleo, please put in the chat the required reading materials again. When you read the books, you can say to them, in Ministry of Healing, it says X and Y and Z, and you recommend these books to them, because these books can be help to them, both emotionally and physically. When they see that it is written in a book and it's not just you telling them not to eat fruits and vegetables together. But I love lettuce and tomato. Why should I stop eating it? But if their desire is to please God and they see it, when they read that when they eat meat, it impairs their judgment and it makes it difficult for them, for God to communicate with them, they're more inclined to be obedient to your recommendation to be on a plant-based diet. All right. So this is an example of your daily schedule that you will recommend. The daily schedule. So sometimes person's life is so busy, they don't, how am I going to do all of these things that you're asking them? So you have to help them to create a schedule, and you say to them, okay, what time do you wake up? And you try to create, and this is just an example, they may wake up earlier than 5, and some of them may tell you that, no, I can't wake up so early. But when you show them that in order to have your set meal time, have your set breakfast time, or have your set lunch time, you have to get up a little earlier. They may be inclined to. And when you show them how it can work, you have breakfast at this time, and then you have a little devotion, you go do your walk is important. So when they say that, I can't do 1 hour walks, and not a problem. Do 15 minutes in the morning. Later on in the day, you can probably do another 15 minutes. When they start to do the things and they start getting results, they are more inclined to be obedient to all the laws and to put in the extra effort to do the 1 hour walk. All right. So if they can't walk for 1 hour, instead of time for exercise 6 to 7, it may be 6 to 6:30 or 6 to 6:15. Just encourage them. Once they start doing something little, then you encourage them. Now, sometimes we don't put in time for preparation of meals. And sometimes you have to guide them in prepping meal on a particular day. So I normally tell my clients, use Sunday as your prep day or Wednesday. So on a Sunday, for those persons who don't go to church, they usually have a longer meal. So you're cooking Sunday dinner, quote unquote, and you have this big splash on Sunday. When you're going to be doing that, use your time, because you're going to be in the kitchen so long, use that time to cook a lot of peas. Use that time to toast your grains, right? So you may be cooking some peas, you may be doing a big dish, a special dish for that day. Put on an extra pot of peas. Let it go and cook while you're preparing the other things. When it cools now, then you have peas for Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. You understand? And then Wednesday night when you come home, you put the peas in the slow cooker, and by Thursday morning, you have peas for Thursday and Friday and Saturday. You understand? So you have to teach them how to do food preparation, or find time during the day, or things that they can do to make their life easier so that they can be compliant. All right. So you have one for the 2-meal plan and you have one for the 3-meal plan, right? So if they're doing a 3-meal, they have to be, the meals come earlier, right? But they are still set meal times, all right? And then coming down to the end, you give them a guideline. So they're eating their meals at set meal time, but what type of meals? And so you give them a guide, right? So this is our guide. So this is what your plate should look like. Half of your plate should be filled with either fruits or vegetables. So you're gonna have your raw food that should be somewhere outside of this circle. So your raw food for a fruit meal could be any sweet fruit or any savory fruit. What are sweet fruits? Those are like your mangoes and your custard apples and your sweet sop and your, all those sweet ripe bananas, those sweet things, your cherries. What are your savory fruits? Your savory fruits could be your cucumbers and your tomatoes and your tamarind, savory or sour. So it could be a tamarind, it could be your pumpkin. Yes, you can have raw pumpkin. It could be your okras. Yes, you can have raw okras. It could be your, those are examples of your savory or your sour or not so sweet fruits. And you have those for your raw food. But say it is vegetables. What are you going to have for your vegetables? I'm coming, Miss Daniel. What are you going to have as raw food for your vegetables? So if it's your raw vegetables now, if you're having raw food, it's a vegetable meal and you want raw for your vegetable meal, the only raw vegetable we promote is your lettuce. And so you can have, oops. Throw away my water. All right, so your raw vegetable could be your Could be your lettuce, whether it's romaine lettuce or your iceberg lettuce, or it could be your pumpkin seed or some sunflower seeds, right? You can use that as your raw vegetable, or you could have some dandelion leaves as your raw vegetables, right? Remember, all other vegetables should be steamed, okay? Let me just take these two hands in the meantime. Yes, Miss Daniels? Miss Daniels?
Yes, I was getting some problem to unmute. I have problem with peas, like dry beans, right, and peas. Now I'm wondering if you have to soak the peas overnight and then cook for the 3 hours, or you just put it to cook, just wash it and put it to cook. Because I always have problem with peas. I don't know what to do again.
All right. So if you have problem with peas, it's not the problem. The peas is not the problem. It's your gut health. So you're having a problem with your gut.
Mm-hmm.
To help your gut, you have to prepare your meals properly. So yes, if you find that soaking for overnight and then cooking for 3 hours, you're still having the problems with the peas, then I would say to you, soak for more than overnight. Soak for a day. Just change the water twice a day and then cook it. If you're still having problems, then apart from, you need a consultation. So you may need probiotic, or you may just need to avoid some peas. So some persons have problems with some peas because the phytic acid in some peas is higher than others. And so while you're healing, you avoid the peas that have a higher phytic acid content, and you eat those that are more agreeable with you until your gut health is improved and you're able to tolerate some of those other peas.
Okay, but I was wondering if you eat like fresh beans and peas, like like peas and body and those things. If you would get the required amount of protein, just as the dry peas, if you can eat them.
Yes, you can, but it is the same preparation for the fresh peas, So if you're cooking dried peas, you still have to soak them and cook them for the 3 hours. If you're cooking the fresh peas, green peas then, so to speak, you might not need to soak them, but yes, you have to cook them. But remember, the phytic acid is still in the peas.
For the same 3 hours, you have to cook them?
Yes,
yes. Oh my God, I was doing it wrong. I thought because
maybe that's the reason why you're having the stomach issues.
Yeah, I thought probably as it's green, it's fresh peas, you can eat it, halfway.
No, the phytic acid is still there.
Oh my God. Okay, well, thank you so much.
That and see how your stomach fares.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome, my dear.
Okay.
Lisa, go ahead.
Yes, you had mentioned somewhere that you can buy the seeds that is non-GMO, because I'd like to plant some lettuce. You had mentioned it sometime. I think it was labor reading.
Oh, yes, I did. I will put it in the WhatsApp group. I'm not remembering the link at the moment. I'll put it in the WhatsApp group. Or you can I will put it in the WhatsApp group. All right. No problem. Nicole, go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay. Can you if you are doing steamed vegetables, can you use the raw and steam together, or you have to just steam or the raw?
If you can do what?
Okay, the steamed vegetables, right? And you have the raw one, which is the lettuce. So can you eat them together, or you have to do it separately?
All right. So let me understand the question that you're asking.
Okay.
Wait. Okay. Are you asking can I have lettuce first as my raw food and then have lettuce with my steamed vegetables? Is that the question?
If you can have both of them at the same time.
Does that mean you did not start with just raw?
No, like
all right, listen. All right, let me answer it this way. You use the raw food to stimulate digestion and to stimulate the correct type of digestive juice to be initiated.
Okay.
If you mix up your lettuce with some steamed lettuce, that is eliminated. You won't have that. But if you have the lettuce, say you have 2 pieces of lettuce first, and then you proceed to have your lettuce and your steamed veg together, that's fine. But you must have started with your raw first to stimulate it. If you mix the lettuce and the steamed veg together, when you put both raw and cooked vegetable in your mouth and it's going down, you're going to be confused in your stomach. That's like, so it won't know what is going on. Is it raw? Is it cooked? So the effect that you want to get by having the raw food first, you would not have got.
Okay, so there's just like a special time between, like it's 5 minutes before.
No, you don't need to wait no time. You just need to have the raw food first.
Okay. All right.
So when you put the raw food in your mouth and you masticate and you masticate and you swallow, right? Okay. Then you can have your cooked food. But remember, we say when you're having your raw food, it makes sense to have more than a mouthful, eh?
Okay.
So you have, 2 to 3 servings of raw food or vegetables before you move on. If I'm going to have 2 to 3 servings of lettuce, I would have to eat that first before I have the cooked food, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I used to have everything at home.
You're not going to get the same effect.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yes. All right. I don't think I'm quite finished yet. I will answer your question, Miss John, and who's the next person again? Mottle. Just a second. Let me just continue with something. So you're gonna have your raw food, right? And then you're gonna have half a plate full of steamed vegetables or stewed fruit or cooked fruit, right? So what are your steamed vegetables that you can have? Your carrots, your lettuce, not your carrots and lettuce, your carrots and your callaloo and your cabbage and your kale and your broccoli and your cauliflower, steamed, baked, sauteed, right? Those are your vegetables. Or you could be having your ackee as your fruit cooked up. You could have your tomatoes and okra cooked up. You could have your, like a pumpkin medley. You could have your okra and your pumpkin cooked up. You could have, those are fruits that you could have some tomatoes cooked up nicely. Those are a fruit dish that you could have. Then you're going to have your quarter of your plate should be your carbohydrates. What are your carbohydrates? Your brown rice, your potatoes, your dasheen, your cassava, your millet, your buckwheat. You could make your dumplings, you could make your pancake, you could have your waffles, you could have your breads, you could have your biscuits. What else? Right? So those are your carbohydrates. You could also have fruits as your carbohydrate. So you have your roast bread fruit, you have some steamed pumpkin, you could have your you know, your green bananas, boiled green bananas, right? So those are starchy fruits that you could have here. You could have your yams, all right? Then your protein. Because we are doing a plant-based diet, your protein is going to consist of peas and nuts. Now for your peas, you can use your peas and make lovely dishes. So it could be stew peas. You don't have to have stew peas all the time. You could use your peas to make burgers. You could use them to make, form them into nuggets or little things that, you know, I don't really want to say resemble meat, but just to give it a different look, right? You could use your tofus. You could make a nut loaf. You could make your peas into a loaf as well, right? And you're going to use that as your protein, all right? And last but not least, you'll have a bit of nuts or oil or those fruits high in fat to close your meals. So you could have your almond or your cashew, or you could make a pastry like your cashew cheesecake, or your seed balls with your nuts and your seeds to close the meal. So you have that high fat content that is going to help to keep you feeling fuller longer. All right. Okay, so that comes to the end of the presentation. I hope you understand better how to utilize the lifestyle assessment form. Okay, all right. Okay, I see a question in the chat. Do you recommend the use of veggie steak and veggie chunks? No. I'm going to answer your question in this way. You should try to eat the least amount of processed food, highly processed food, as much as you can. So try to avoid highly processed foods. Now, veggie steaks and veggie chunks are what we call texturized proteins, right? They are made from plants. They are dehydrated, and you have to rehydrate them with water to make them into a meal. Now, they are for a healthy person, it can be used, but it's not something, it should not be the main source of your protein. We use them sometimes as transition food for those persons who are going towards a plant-based. But a lot of times people get stuck right there. For persons who are sick, we do not recommend it any at all. And I'm going to tell you an experience. There was this gentleman that we were managing for, I think it's high blood pressure. His kidneys were affected, but not as much. But he didn't want it to get bad. So he came to us for the program, and we put him on the plan, and the vegetarian thing, him just couldn't tolerate it. Now, as a transition, he asked if he could use these items, right? And so we say, yes, but you should not be using it all the time. Brethren, never hear that part there. That was his meal. You understand? And he will tell you that he's eating a plant-based, and by right, he is eating a plant-based. But after 3 months, that man's kidney was not good. You understand? His kidney began to get worse because the work that the kidney needed to do in order to extract whatever out of those texturized food was so much that the kidney began to fail. So we don't recommend these meat alternatives because they are not wholesome in itself. They can be used as transitional food, but they are not ideal. They're not ideal. Once in a month, once in every 3 months, maybe, but it should not be the sole thing that your diet is made up of. Okay? So that's how I'm going to answer that question. Juliet, John, you can go ahead.
Hello, nurse. Thank you so much for your lecture. And in the earlier part of the lecture, you were talking about someone that was in the hospital that they had to do surgery, and there was so much fat in the organs of the stomach.
Yes.
What would you recommend, if someone needs to, like reduce the fat that is in their stomach, like what food or what drink would you recommend?
A plant-based diet, the 8 laws of health.
Oh, okay. But you have to have know how to structure it.
If they have to know how to structure it?
How to structure the meal so that it will be effective in reducing or melting out the fat.
Yeah, but remember, it's not just the meal alone. It's a program. So it's not just the meal alone. Do not get fixated on the meal. If you are doing the meal alone and you're not walking, you're not getting your sunlight, you're not doing the other stuff, you will get some benefit, but you'll not be a holistic program.
Okay.
So it is the 8 laws of health. Do not get stuck on diet alone. All right?
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome. Motley, please open your mic and tell me your correct pronunciation of your name.
Motley.
Motley. And your first name?
Well, it's Jazani written there, but my name is Kadisha.
I like Kadisha. Only because I can't call that one.
Jazani.
Jazani. Okay.
Yes.
All right, no problem. Okay, that's
All right.
you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the question is, I would have learned about the 2-meal plan several months ago, probably like 2 to 3 months ago, and I started it.
Yes.
But the problem I'm having with it, I'm not sure if you can probably, I don't know, point out what may be wrong, is that since I started doing that, after 2-3 spoonfuls, like a normal tablespoon, I'm full. And if it is I continue eating, then I'll feel the food all in my throat. So right now my appetite is about a quarter of what it is I was eating before. So I just wanted to know what, I don't know if that sounds like, if it is I'm getting gaseous or something, gaseous, but I'm not burping or anything like that. It's just that quarter the amount that I used to eat, which was not much. My problem before is that I'll eat small amounts, but eat often. But now it's even reduced. So I was just wondering if anybody ever got into that issue and what may be the problem.
All right. Based on the information that you have received just now in this lecture, what would you say is your problem? If somebody came to you and told you that, what would be the follow-up question that you would ask?
I'm not sure. I don't know if it's gut health or so, but
all right, okay, no problem. I'm throwing it out to the class. What would be the follow-up question that you would ask Sister Mottle? Anyone?
Like what exactly I'm eating?
Yeah, but I'm thinking something more.
How is it prepared?
Hello.
Kadeen, what would you ask her?
Maybe the question that I would ask her, how often is she eating? What time is it that she's eating the meals? Or is it that she's preparing it? And that in that sense.
Why are you asking her that? Kadeen, Go ahead. Why are you asking her that? What you want to, what information you want to get? Inkadine? All right. Tracy D, tell me. Yes, Tracy D?
Sorry, you want to find out, as what that was explaining this morning, is she actually in a 2 meal plan? Does she have some juice between sometime or something? So she needs to actually explain what is going on with her and what does she do as her 2 meal plan?
All right. Any other question?
Oh, no, she said some of them.
All right. I'm going to ask a question. Thank you so much. All right. Where are you? Miss Muttle?
Motley.
Motley, sorry. Kadisha. Kadisha.
Uh-huh.
All right. Were you on a plant-based diet before?
Yes, for 16 years.
Okay. So all that you're doing now is doing a 2 meal? All that you're doing now is doing a 2 meal?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So those would have been my first 2 questions. And then I would ask the questions that Kadeen and Tracy asked. I would ask you, what is it that you're eating and how you're preparing it? It may be a mental thing in terms that your body's just saying, look here, give me some food, or nobody give me nothing else. I don't into this. You understand? It could be. Or if it's a case where this was new to you, it could be that your body just don't like this type of food, don't like this type of preparation of this food. Are you preparing your foods differently?
Yes and no, as I told you before, I would have been vegan for like 16 years. Only thing that I would have started doing differently is with the peas doing the 3 hours. Well, not 3 hours, I would slow cook it, but doing my grains for the 3 hours, roasting it on the low, slow heat and stuff like that. That's the only thing differently, but however,
All right,
I would have.
so I want to ask this question now. Do you like the new taste of your food?
Yes.
Okay, so then the next thing I would want to do is to look at your gut health. Because if your stomach is rejecting it, then I want to know why is my stomach rejecting the food? Maybe you need to go on a fast to reorganize the body to say, listen, we are supposed to be eating at 2 times. This time and this time, not little small meals, right? And why were you eating several small meals before?
Well, I usually at about 3 hours I would feel hungry, but however I worked shift and sometimes you wouldn't get to sit down. So I mean, anything you can grab at some point in time, that is what you will do. But usually by the time 3 hours, I would have felt hungry again, so I may have eaten at that time. But then I learned about what it is we should do, and then I decided, okay, then I'll do the 2 meals apart and spend 5 hours. 5 hours between meals.
And are you getting hungry? Are you still getting hungry every 3 hours?
No, not really, not all the time. Every day wouldn't be the same. Some days you may feel hungry before the 5-6 hours. But some days you don't. You just, I mean, sometimes you eat because you know you have a schedule to eat, but not every day. Not every day is the same. Some days I would feel hungry, some days I wouldn't.
All right, so the 2 things that I would tell you to look at is your gut health, look at the probiotics. I think you may be having some gut issues. And 2, your body may not have caught up with your brain to say that this is the time that we are eating. And 3, look at your meal combinations. I find that when your meals are balanced, means that you have all the food groups, right? You might not get hungry because the body is properly nourished. So it don't have any reason to send you this hunger signal to say, give me this, give me that, because you are provided all the nutrients that it requires. So if your meals are not properly prepared, then not properly prepared, combined, so you don't have all of the food groups, then this may be the thing. So that's what the advice I would give you. Look at the food combination. Look at are you having any other symptoms that may indicate that you're having a gut issue? And I don't remember the other one. But yes, just try that and see. If you might just need some time, do the fast. Do the fast and then restart. Reset your system. All right?
Thank you.
All right. Samantha, go ahead.
I had wanted to ask a question earlier when you were
You don't remember it?
No, man, I remember the question. I'm just trying to
go ahead.
Took a picture of red. So there was a picture that you were showing with the plate and what the recommended serving sizes should be. And in my head all along, I have the idea that we don't mix fruits with vegetables, right?
You do not.
You mentioned something that threw me off just a little. I just wanted to clarify. When you mentioned about starchy fruits like breadfruit, are those okay to have with vegetables?
No.
Okay.
So if you're in Jamaica here, Jamaicans love to eat green banana and callaloo, or green banana and cabbage. That's a no-no. That's a recipe for indigestion and inflammation and indigestion. So you would use like yam and probably your dumplings, and don't make your dumpling from
white flour.
No, man. Well, we don't eat anything white, right?
You were just trying to help because you
no,
wanted
I'm thinking, no, you have like breadfruit flour.
Okay.
So sometimes person are just cooking, and so them not remember say it's a breadfruit flour that they using or a banana flour that they using, and they made the dumpling and they eating it with callaloo. So that's what I was trying to come up in my mind. So best,
we're just giving examples of the different fruits that we could be having to.
Yes, but I'm saying if you have breadfruit flour, you can use that to make dumplings. But that would be for a fruit meal, not a vegetable meal. So I'm saying sometimes people forget that because it's a flour you're using to make dumpling, they forget that it's a fruit flour. And so they might want to make a breadfruit dumpling with a callaloo meal or a cabbage meal. You understand what I'm saying? Don't make your dumplings from these kind of flours.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'd use your oats or your wheat flour, your spelt flour, your buckwheat, things like that. But try not to mix them.
But it's okay to have the breadfruit with the beans and the peas, whatever else, but not with the vegetables.
Yes, man, not with the vegetable, but yes, you can have it with your.
Thank you very much.
Not a problem. All right, Sister Pompey.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to lower your hand and mute you instead. Sorry, my dearest. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much. When we are doing the assessment form in terms of the diagnosis, I would have went to a radiologist to do that assessment on the abdomen.
Hold on a second. You're doing it on yourself?
Yes, and the doctors to do some assessment, and I was misdiagnosed. She said that I had an ectopic pregnancy, and it was nothing like that. And I am hearing of cases where people are being misdiagnosed. So when we our assessments and we have cases where persons might have been misdiagnosed. How
that is the reason why we don't rely on that. We're relying on clinical evidence. What is the clinical evidence? All these intricate things that we're asking them. How often do you eat? What do you eat? Do you eat milk? Do you eat cheese? Do you eat dairy? All of these intricate details. And you notice how detailed the forms are?
Okay, so with all of that detail, in the case where somebody might have been misdiagnosed, it will be easily identified.
Not identified per se, but it wouldn't be, remember the program that you put somebody on is a general program. You will have specifics that may impair on another system like renal and heart, and renal and heart works together. So whatever recommendations you give for the persons with heart issues like your high blood pressure or your congestive cardiac failure or things like that will impact on the kidneys.
Okay.
The assessment the information that you gather, right? The information that you gather, they are pointed. And if you have somebody with multiple problems, it's always good to seek advice before you make recommendations. And that's why we are here, to guide you.
Okay. Okay.
So if it's somebody who have lots and lots of problems, try not to do that person alone.
Okay. Two more things. One thing, I am told that I am allergic to penicillin. And I would want to better understand what might cause an allergy to that sort of stuff. And one other thing before I go, I have a dog. I am wondering if the same meal plan and all of that goes for your pets. Thank you.
I'm not sure about the pet one. They're not guided by the same principles. You don't see animals really eating throughout the day. The animals that you see eating throughout the day are like cows and goats. They're always eating. But when they stop, them stop. You understand? So even those kind of animals have a kind of set kind of pattern to eat. So I don't think the meal thing works for animals. I could be mistaken. I'd seek further advice on that, but I don't think it. Animals have their own instinct with meals, and they don't eat like humans. They don't eat round the clock. They have specific time that they eat. Right? They have specific time. So I don't think that counts. In regards to the allergies or the penicillin, when we go into allergies, that can be more explained. At this time, I do understand how allergies work, but I can't tell you exactly right at this time in this presentation. So that is something that we will take on in another class. All right.
Okay, thank you. But I noticed with my my puppy, I bought the dog food for it, and it just threw up everything. It just threw up everything. So I would want to believe that even the processed things are a problem even for the animals.
No, maybe the animal is sick. Give him some charcoal.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Throwing up is not a normal thing for animals to do. So once you do it, you know that something is wrong. Something is wrong with the system. So you either give him some charcoal or take him to the vet.
Okay, thank you.
All right, my dear. Okay, Sister Francis, you are the last person I shall be answering today. Go ahead quickly. We are gross to overtime.
Okay, just a comment. For the person who's asking about the fat around the belly, the visceral fat. Remember in the lecture on exercise, they were saying that when you walk, that burns the fat content, the visceral fat, and the carbs would be burnt when you're doing a more faster paced exercise. So you can look into that. And remember the 2 meals, you'll be fasting in between, so you'd have less fat buildup. As I say, it's a whole plan, but do that exercise and it will also help with the visceral fat around any organ that is, as well as the abdomen.
Beautiful advice. Can you just pray to close and then I will address you guys just to close the recording.
Lord, I want to thank you so much for another beautiful day. Thank you for all this information, all the knowledge and the wisdom that we would have garnered from it. I pray, Lord, that we may purpose in our hearts to not be hearers of the word, but also doers. In your name, I pray and say thanks. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Okay.